her gone. All right. Throughout the chapter, we see that many allusions are given that the river is dangerous. The twins have been taught how to swim by Chaco, but he has specifically told them that they can't do it unless he is there. All right. And the story of the ghost that is lives across the river, and many people who have drowned in the Meenachil, all of these tells us that it's again a foreshadowing to tell us that the river is dangerous, and the children trying to mend a boat to go on the river is not a good idea. And even when Velta is asked to mend the boat, he tells the children that you have to promise me that you will not use it. Okay. And he decides to help them blend the boat. All right. And in this particular chapter, there is a very blatant statement where Arundhati Roy is giving us an indication, again, further indication about the relation between Ammu and Velita, where she says that Ammu will love the man that by night, that the children love by day. Okay, so this boat that is going to be used by the children to row across the river, if the orange drink lemon drink man comes, the same boat will be used by Ammu to go across the river to Kari Sahib's house and have relations with Velita, okay, to love the man by night that her children love by the day. All right, and that is how this particular chapter ends, with the indication of what is happening. Again, it is building up towards the event that happens. So the boat is ready, the river is ready, and yes, we have gotten an indication about Ammu's and Velita's love story. All right. So I think that's all that is there in chapter 10. Moving on to chapter 11. This chapter 11 is called The God of Small Things, and the name of the novel is given to this particular chapter. All right, and it is a continuation of the previous chapter, because when this chapter begins, Rahel and Esther are returning from Velta's house, and they find that Ammu is still sleeping for her afternoon nap. She's not woken up, and she has a very, very vivid dream with an oil lamp, and she's on a beach, and there is a man with one hand. Okay, and we get indications from the way that this man is described that this dream is probably about Velita. All right, and he is called by Ammu as the god of small things. All right, and she senses that the twins have come, but she does not want to wake up from this dream. And the twins also, they do not want to wake her, so they try to make small noises. And when she wakes up, she sees that there is sawdust on their body, so she understands that they have been to Velita's house. So she warns them that you should not go there to Valita's house. It will bring trouble. What trouble it is not described, but she just tells the children that they should not go to Valita's house. After this, she goes to the bathroom and she locks herself in. She removes all her clothes and she examines her body. All right, and for her, when she first looks at her body, she feels like her life has been lived. She is not very old, but she feels like she's already having 2 children. She has stretch marks. Her body is not what it used to be. So she feels like her life has been lived. All right, but at the same time, she's dreading the future. How is she going to manage the future is something that is dreaded by her. All right, and the children are playing in the room while Ammu is in the bathroom. And another thing is that there is an indication after this that tells us that this is the room where problems are going to happen, because Roy tells us that this is the very room where the children are playing now. This is the room where first Ammu will be locked, and then she will lock herself in, and finally Chaco will come and batter the door down, and he will ask her to leave the house immediately. And he threatens her by saying that he will break every bone in his broad body. And while he's threatening her, Ammu holds her children together and she says that, promise me that you love each other always. All right, and later it is in that very room that Ammu is seen packing Estha's bag for him to be returned to his Baba. And while she's packing every small thing, she feels her heart is broken when she sees Estha's innocent face and his innocent smile. All right, and it is again later, many years later, that Rahel comes into this room silently and watches Esther, who is taking a bath and washing his clothes. So that room is a very, very big figuring symbol of bad things that happen in the particular novel. All right. And the important parts of this particular chapter is how she identifies the god of small things, the titular name of the novel, the god of small things. So we come to know that it is Velita who is the god of laws, who's the god of small things. Why? Because there are many, many big things, the caste system, the restrictions of our family, the laws of love, of who you can love and who you can't love. Okay, those are the big things, the great things that cannot be controlled by them. But what Ammu is trying to do is she's trying to save the small things. Okay, small things like the songs that she plays on her radio. And this is the particular chapter in which we know that finally things are in motion. Whatever we were waiting for from the first chapter itself is going to happen. All right, because we know that Ammu and Velita are going to have a illicit relationship, and they are going to go across the river to the history house to have this relationship. And we know that it will end in tragedy, because we already saw in the previous chapter that Velita will be found with his nails painted in that history house. All right, and and there is also a brief description of the cremation of an elephant that they see on the way. Okay, so that is seen as a bad omen, or which will lead to all the disastrous things that will be coming in the coming chapters. All right, and with that, chapter 11 ends. The next chapter is chapter 12, which is titled Kuchitamban. Now, remember, I told you about that dead elephant that they see on the road when they're coming back from Cochin. And when they see that elephant, automatically, Chaco feels, is it Kuchitamban? Kuchitamban is the elephant of Aymanam temple, but it's not that, it's some other elephant. All right, and this elephant is cremated, and it is seen as a bad omen. But the next chapter is titled Kuchitamban, who is an elephant of Aymanam temple, and it opens in the present, where old Rahel is going to the temple, and she sees Kuchitamban, and she realizes the change is being remember in the previous chapter we saw how she describes the change in the river and the change in the landscape in Aymanam. So here she sees the change in Kuchitamban and realizes that he's no longer Kuchitamban, he's become Velyatomban, he's old, his skin is wrinkled, right? And that is where a Kathakali performance is going to happen, and she senses Estha's presence while the performance is going on. Even though she does not see him, she senses his presence as he comes and stands next to her to watch the Kathakali performance. All right. At the same time, there is a very, very small indication that Roy gives us about how this Kerala tourism is a bad thing, because the Kathakali players who are very, very it's much more than a cultural performance. It's their life, right, for them. And this Kathakali performance has been reduced. It's not being respected as it was, because when it is performed in these resorts, the people who are watching it do not want to watch long episodes. They do not want to wear proper clothes and sit in one place. They do what they are doing, and they completely ignore the performance. So from the grandness and the greatness that Kathakali once used to be, they have now been reduced to just being a regional flavor, okay, that people are presenting in resorts. From that, the violent stories of Kathakali, Karna's episode, of the episode where Kunti is coming to Karna and revealing to him that she is his mother, and begging him to not kill his brothers. All that is described within this chapter. All right, and they stay through the entire performance. All right, and they do not talk to each other, Rahel and Esther, but they walk home together. So it seems like even though they are not talking, the bond between them is coming together, because Esther, who usually does not go anywhere, has come following Rahel, and he stands by her, right? And yes, after this, at the end, there is one dialogue that is very, very interesting, because, Kathakali performance, this was the original Kathakali performance that was done in a temple. Okay, it's not the one for tourists. So it is ending only by dawn. It starts the previous day and it ends on the dawn the next day. When she says that the Kathakali performers take off their makeup and they go to beat their wives, okay, because it shows the frustration that is there. And it also suggests that how within Kathakali there are so many violent themes that are shown, right? And this violence stays within the performers because they go home and they beat their wives. Even the ones who act like women, the ones who act the female roles, they also go and beat their wives, is what Roy indicates here. All right. That is a very, very small chapter where only this Kathakali and its performance, and that prominence of violence within Indian culture and how we almost celebrate violence is indicated by Arundhati Roy in this particular chapter.